This is a DA set in which three operators are given: Airtel, Vodafone, and Idea. Their rental, CLIP, incoming calls, ST calls, rates are given. Okay, so rental and CLIP are the fixed charges of these three companies, and rest are variables. So it can be different values can be there. So local calls, among them there are three categories: GSM, landline, and CDMA phones. Similarly, SMS has three categories, and roaming has rent and call rates, right? So let's look at the question. A sales manager traveled for 10 days in a month outside the state. In this period, on an average, he receives 6 calls of 1 minute each per day and makes 2 calls of 1 minute each per day. He does not use SMS facility during this period. Based on this observation, he wants to minimize his mobile expense for these 10 days. Okay, so he's talking about only these 10 days, not the complete package. Which of the following uh, which of the three given mobile services providers should he choose? So if you see the roaming rates, uh, incoming and outgoing calls, the rates are same for each of the three providers, right? But if we see the rent of roaming, for Airtel it is 50, Vodafone it is 100, and Idea it is 1.5 per day. Now he is outside for 10 days, right? So Vodafone is clearly out because its rent is high, plus its call rate is also high, right? So that's out of the question. Now we are left with Idea or Airtel. Airtel has 50 rupees rent for the 10 days, right? But Idea will have 15 rupees rent for the 10-day period. But its call rate is 50 paise higher than the call rates of Airtel. So the question gives you 6 calls of 1 minute each, 2 calls of 1 minute each, that means 8 calls in a day. That means for a 10 days period, he receives or makes calls of rupees of 80 minutes. Now, we have a difference of 50 paise in the call rate, right? So, if I make a call of 80 minutes, this gives you the charge of 40 rupees extra than Airtel. So, Airtel rent was 50, Idea rent was 15 for 10 days. But so here are different. We have a difference of 35 here, right? So if you see give only rent, Idea is cheaper than Airtel by rupees 35. But as per call rates, Idea's call rate is 40 rupees higher than Airtel. That means if I choose Idea, I will be in a loss of 5 rupees. It is 5 rupees, 35 rupees cheaper here, but 40 rupees costlier here. So in that case, Airtel would be the cheapest one. Option is D. Next is if all the service providers decide to charge the same amount for all calls, both local and STD, and all SMS, which mobile service provider should a person who does not go outside a state choose? So all the calls, local, STD, SMS are same. So I just have to check their fixed charges. So you can see that the fixed charges for Idea is only 175 rupees, and Vodafone is 250, Airtel is 200. So I have to choose Idea here because Idea is the cheapest among the rents or the fixed charges. Next says Ajay, who does not go outside his state, has a budget of 15 rupees per month for his mobile phone expenses. He makes local calls for an equal amount of time for GSM, landline and CDMA phones. He does not make any STD calls or SMS. Which mobile service provider will give him service to the maximum calls of maximum amount of time? So you have a budget of 1500 rupees. Now my fixed rates for Airtel, Vodafone and Idea are 200, 250 and 175. That means if you exclude these fixed rates, I am left with 1300 rupees for Airtel, 1250 for Vodafone and 1325 for Idea. And I make equal calls to GSM, LAN and CDMA. So if you see the rates of Airtel, if I spend equal number of calls for GSM, CDM and landline, this total will come out to be 7. This total will come out to be 5.5, and this is again 5.5. Okay. So here, on an average, one call each GSM, landline and CDMA will cost me 7 rupees. Here 5.5 and here again 5.5. In case of Airtel, I have only 1300 rupees, but the call rate is very high, 7 rupees. For Vodafone and Idea, call rate is same, and the talk time for Idea is more than Vodafone, so I should choose Idea here. Right. Next says Idea comes up with a new scheme in which he waives off CLIP charges if a customer is on roaming for 7 or more days in a month. So if Ram, who uses that in Idea mobile services, receive the same number of calls every day of 1 minute each and does not use outgoing calls facility or SMS facility while on roaming, then what is the maximum number of calls that he can receive every day such that his incoming call charges while on roaming does not exceed rupees 75. So I have a budget of 75 rupees. Now what is the charge of Idea in roaming? So incoming call or outgoing call, it cost me rupees 2.5. I have a budget of 75 rupees. So at the rate of 2.5 rupees per call, I can make 30 calls in 10 days. That means 3 calls per day. Right option is A.